What's up, guys? Doug Polk here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about my upcoming match with Phil Hellmuth. We are playing in a $50,000 buy-in, 4-man, winner-take-all heads-up tournament called King of the Hill on Poker Night in America. We're going to dive in and talk about the contestants, as well as what the lines are like in terms of who is a favorite, who should win each match. We're going to look at all that coming up here, but first, I want to talk about what's going on this week on the channel. This week is going to be podcast week. We have 4 excellent guests joining us. Monday, Tonka is going to stop by at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Tuesday, we are joined by Phil Hellmuth to talk about his book that just came out, as well as what he's been up to lately at 3 p.m. as well. Wednesday, Dan Cates stops on by, 3 p.m. Pacific time there too. And finally, Frank Kassela joins us on Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time to talk about the upcoming Heads Up tournament. If you guys have any topics you want to hear from our guests, feel free to message me on social media or just leave a comment right here below the video and I'll go through them. So I got some good comments from you guys to ask our guests. Now, Daniel Cates and Frank Kassela is the matchup on the other side of this $50,000 battle. So I wanted to get them on the pod, talk about how they feel going into it. And it's definitely going to be fun to talk to Phil Hellmuth about our upcoming match. I'm sure he's going to be a happy camper if he runs bad. Now, this match is going to take place August 22nd and 23rd at the New Rivers location in New York, Rivers Casino and Resort, Schenectady. All right, so I might not be able to pronounce where we're going, but we are going there, and it's going to be a 4-man winner-take-all battle. Look, I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty goddamn excited for this. You know, when I think about the NBC Heads Up, for those of you that don't know, it was a $25,000 tournament that would run every single year, and they would broadcast it on NBC. It was a heads-up battle. I think it was 32 players played in a single elimination bracket to try and take it down. I was really disappointed, but by the time I'd gotten to high stakes, this had already disappeared. So I never got my chance to jump in there, battle with the famous people, try and get some TV time, and it's my favorite format. I think you guys know that about me. Now, the cool thing about Heads Up is that because the winner moves on, the loser loses, there is no ICM pressure. So that actually makes it pretty cool. It's kind of really like a cash game with escalating blinds in each match. Now, clearly this format players some people more than others. So let's go ahead and jump in and look at our first contestant, Phil Hellmuth. The Poker Brat has an impressive resume when it comes to poker, especially in the tournament format. I mean, he has 14 bracelets, easily first place for most bracelets of any player of all time. He has also won a Heads Up tournament before, the 2005 NBC Heads Up. He defeated 5 different players on his way to take it down. And it's funny to think I had not even yet started playing poker when he was already winning Heads Up tournaments. He also competed in that tournament in 2008. Was there anything notable from that event?
Son, I would tell you this much, son. I would never have put more 3,000 with 2 tens before.
Oh, here we go.
I was going to say good game, sorry for the suck out, but...
We'll see if you're even around in 5 years. We'll see if you're even around in 5 years.
Maybe I won't
That's
be.
the truth. I don't think you will be.
All jokes aside, the guy's got accolades in spades when it comes to poker, including Heads Up. Now, he actually beat 6 people or 64 people in that tournament he won in 2005, and you might not be too impressed with the road to take it down. It includes defeating Men Win, Paul Phillips, Huck Seed, Lyle Berman, Antonio Esfandiari, and then in the final, a best 2 out of 3 of our likely Player of the Year, Chris Ferguson. Also, isn't it a bit weird to be wearing a cowboy hat your entire life? I mean, look, I know what some of you guys are going to say. Doug, cowboy hats are perfectly normal in some places. I understand that. Los Angeles is not one of them. If you're going to try and pull the hat off, you got to be from somewhere in the South. I mean, just ask Dan Smith. He's from New Jersey. I do have to say, though, Chris is probably only the second most tilting hairstyle in this photo. Back to Phil Hellmuth. Now, how is Phil Hellmuth going to fare in this first round match up against myself? And I've got to say, I don't think he's going to do very well. I mean, look, Heads Up No Limit's my thing. I've been doing this since I was born. Actually, no, only he's been doing this since I was born. Bad example. I've played over 1 million hands of Heads Up poker in my life, winning millions of dollars at a great win rate, including this graph of my Heads Up results. And I've also done pretty well at 30 big blind played too. So I'm having a hard time seeing Phil Hellmuth beat me. I will admit my 20 big blind game pretty weak. So if he can hold on in the early rounds and maybe get to the later rounds where his precise live reads could play a role, he might be able to upset me and take it down and move on to the finals. Next up, Daniel Cates. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I really wanted to see him play Phil Hellmuth in the first round. Look, these guys are both really into the game. They hate losing. They love winning. And when things don't go their way, they tend to be a little bit tilty. All it would take to get that trade in motion is for someone to lose. And when two people play heads up, that's pretty likely to happen. When we take a look at Jungle's resume, he's also an extremely accomplished player. The funny thing is, it is the exact opposite side of poker that Phil Hellmuth is successful in. Jungle has insane results online, including winning over $10 million on Full Tilt Poker and $1 million on PokerStars. Those are some serious results, but he also does have some live earnings as well. Now, he hasn't done too well at the World Series of Poker, probably a decent amount because he hasn't played it that much, with only one money finish. It was in the main event in 2015. But he does have a couple of titles at the World Poker Tour and also a title at the European Poker Tour, so he has some decent live earnings as well. I haven't gotten a chance to talk with Jungle too much in the past couple of years, but my understanding is that he's mainly playing nosebleed live cash games in a private setting. Will that translate into heads up? Well, look, I think it absolutely will. The guy still plays some online. When I did play online, he was a ferocious player. In fact, I think the worst session I ever had in buy-ins to one single player was to Jungle. I think I lost like 30 or 35 buy-ins at 25.50. I guarantee you he remembers the session. Now, I couldn't resist but to show at least one hand here for my session I played against Jungle a few years ago, because this is one of the craziest call downs I've ever seen in my entire life. Jungle opens the button. I 3-bet the 8-4 offsuit. He makes the call. 7-6 deuce. I barrel the gut shot. He makes the call. Turn king. I barrel the turn. Again, he calls. River deuce. I jam the river as a bluff. Admittingly, probably a bit too wide bluffing. And Jungle calls with, the missed flush draw too. Wow. One more hand for the road. This is one of the sickest bluffs I've ever seen somebody run. We're 300 blinds deep. I open ace-9. He 3-bets. I call. 7-6 deuce rainbow. Bet. Call. Turn 9. Check. Value bet. Call. River ace. Check. Value bet. Jam. Call. Eights. It makes sense. He blocks 10-8, 8-5. Don't mind the bluff. But God, what an animal. He's basically saying that he has really a trapped 10-8, maybe a trapped 8-5, but that's not many hands. However, 8 is probably the best possible hand to bluff with, so I get it. Probably prefer not have the club, but at the same time, this hand does make sense. And this is the thing about Jungle. He's willing to make big call downs. He's really willing to run big bluffs, and that's one of the reasons why he's so deadly when he plays heads at no limit. Look, Jungle, I might have lost 32 buy-ins, but what up, Redline? Didn't beat me there, dog. What's a term for what I do to Redline? Like crush it, like really crush it. No matter how you want to look at it, Jungle is a great heads-up player and will be either the favorite or maybe a close second-place favorite to take this thing down. What he will have to watch out for, though, are some moments like this.
No, it's just like actual cheating at this point. I'm serious. I'm gonna have to call penalties on you every hand. I'm dead serious.
You really think I'm trying to angle with this?
Yes.
You.
It's impossible for you to be as dumb as you're acting, so don't.
You really think I'm trying to angle?
Yes.
Then you're an idiot.
I know it might be easy to get mad at Scott Seaver, but the guy's well accomplished for sure.
You didn't make a great play.
Damn.
Make a great play and maybe they'll clap.
I know. I need some great plays. Wow. Gabe, you know any good plays?
Not trying to get a cheap showdown when your hand is never good anyways. Step 1. Trying to get a cheap showdown when your hand is never good anyways.
Hey, there's some bullshit.
Step 1.
And the Emmy goes to...
When your hand is never good anyways.
Our final contestant will be Frank Kassela. Now, I'm sure some of you guys at home don't know who Frank is, but he is a fairly accomplished player. He's won 3 World Series of Poker bracelets, and you might see his face up in the halls of the Rio because in 2010, he won World Series of Poker Player of the Year. Now, of his 3 bracelets, all 3 are in mixed games, so he's certainly not a no-limit specialist. In fact, no limit might be one of his weaker games. We don't know too much about Frank, so we decided to check out this interview with Poker News.
Hello everyone, this is Glory Balding for PokerNews.com here at the 2010 World Series of Poker. Frank Kassela, 2 bracelets in 1 World Series. You're the first one to do it this year.
You have to admit that winning 2 bracelets in a year and taking down Player of the Year is an extremely impressive feat by any measure.
Now, you won this bracelet in Raz. How is Raz different than, I believe, stud high or stud high low?
Stud high low.
Yeah.
Well, Raz is a simpler game, because it's more just pure math.
Man, I can see his face. Why are we still zooming in? How about some nice scenery, a little bit of background? No, we're going to get right up in his face.
Well, Raz is a simpler game, because it's more just pure math. You've only got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nut low.
Oh, fuck. Oh, my God. They're bringing this guy in? He counted to 5 flawlessly.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, my God. The guy does have 5 cashes this summer at the World Series, has an impressive tournament resume of over $3 million, and really in most lineups, he would be the strongest player. However, in this lineup of players, especially people so familiar with the heads-up format, you have to imagine he's the underdog. Now, you at home might be wondering, what do the lines look like? Who do you think is going to win? And luckily, there's a site that tells us. That site is Poker Shares, and I'm going to just go right down to outright win the tournament. There are several things you could bet on, but to win the tournament, you get paid $225 per 100 you bet on Dan Cates, $230 on me, $325 on Phil Hellmuth, and $410 on Frank Kassela. What that means is that myself and Daniel Cates are favorites in the field, with him being slightly more favorite than me. Then there's quite a drop-off to Phil Hellmuth, and then there's quite a drop-off to Frank Kassela. Now, this actually does look pretty reasonable to me, and I imagine the true line is something around this. Overall, I am excited for the event and look forward to playing it. Again, we're going to have all 3 of the other contestants here on the channel for podcast this week. You can join all week for podcast week, tomorrow at 3 p.m. with Tonka, Tuesday at 3 p.m. with Phil Hellmuth, Wednesday at 3 p.m. with Dan Cates, and Thursday at 4 p.m. with Frank Kassela. Looking forward to have them on the channel. And again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. That's going to do it here for me, but I do want to say one last thing before I go. You know, I've been looking at the numbers lately, and it seems like it's getting really hard to gain subscribers on YouTube. I assume part of that is that we now have an audience that consists of a lot of the people in poker, and the people that don't want to watch are not part of it. But I'll just say this, if you're new to YouTube, if you mainly are not on the platform, but you've come here for the poker videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the team. It'll actually show more videos in your feed when I put them out so you don't miss any, and it also helps support the channel. So I would definitely appreciate hitting that sub button, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for our podcast with Tonka.